Hey, what is up guys? This is Nishi from MST.TV here, back with another Market Watch episode. So today I'm covering a few really strange buyouts. It feels like all of these sort of came up out of nowhere, as there's nothing particularly meta relevant or flashy. That's okay though, because these are some of the more fun price spikes that we get to see. These are things that people don't expect or really think about, so we have the opportunity to move first and take whatever profits while we can. However, we do still have a ton to look out for over the next couple of weeks, as we have YCS Las Vegas this upcoming weekend, which is right after the new cards from Maze of the Master are tournament legal, so we'll finally be able to know just how the format and market are shaken up from that. Just so you know, Tom will be playing at the event and I will be doing the blog coverage for Konami again, so as long as Tom isn't playing or I'm not working, please feel free to come up to either of us and say hi, and yeah, let's get started. Okay, so to kick things off, we'll take a look at some cards related to new cards coming out in the near future. So one of the big reveals from this past weekend was the Canine archetype, a new theme coming out in Justice Hunters soon in the OCG. The archetype actually looks pretty strong. I do think they'll be one of the stronger decks to come out of a side set for sure, though probably not at the same level as Ryziel or Malice. They're a deck that revolves around making rank 5 Xyz monsters, so we've seen a number of rank 5s get bought out, with the main one being number 67 Paradise Smasher. Now effectively this card is like a pseudo Shockmaster or Azathoth for monster effects, hopefully, where you detach 2 materials from it, and then you and your opponent each roll 2 dice, and whoever rolls the higher total can't activate monster effects for the rest of the turn. However, number 67 rigs it in your favor slightly, and it makes one single roll a 7, so theoretically helping your odds out, though of course this still is not a guarantee. This potentially helps you to play through hand traps when you're going first, or through a board going second, though obviously because it's a dice roll card, it's very unreliable. That said, I don't know how easy this card is to make in that deck. I think 2 of the main deck monsters, if you use their effects to bring themselves and another monster out, those cards can't be used to make a light Xyz monster, but if you bring them out in other ways or with other monsters, then you're fine, and of course Paradise Smasher is generic. Unfortunately, number 67 has just one secret rare printing from Battles of Legend Relentless Revenge, which was the second Battles of Legend set to ever come out. This card was literal bulk for so long, but now this card is up to anywhere from $10 to $15 for a single copy. Definitely something for you guys to be aware of. I personally think that this is something for you to sell while it is hyped, since I don't see something that has a chance to literally do nothing and just burn your resources really be a key card in a meta relevant deck. Even if K9 is good, this is probably something that I wouldn't want to run in the strategy, so I would look to move this card while it is so hyped up. Up next, let's take a look at Super Quantum Red Layer. So this is an interesting one. I believe it was used in some Monarch variants in the past. This card is a level 5 monster that you can special summon for free if you control no monsters. It also adds a Super Quant from your graveyard back to your hand on summon, and if it's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Super Quantum from your graveyard back to the field with its effect negated as well. Now with this one, I think some people just ran 2 copies of it, and you could do a mini loop with the 2 copies so that you always have Tribute or Xyz fodder on the field. Now, however, the card is actually seeing hype for 2 different reasons. For one, it is a level 5 monster, so some players were looking at potentially using this card as a tech option in the K9 strategy, since you could just overlay with them and it's a free summon. For 2, just a day or 2 after the K9 support was revealed, it was actually revealed that we're getting new Super Quantum support itself in the next core set, Duelist Advance. Now, I don't know how good the support actually is, but anytime a deck gets new support, we generally expect some piece of existing support to get some attention on the secondary market. Now, of course, with 2 decks potentially making use of this card, we've now seen even more volatility than usual with the price of the Ultra Rare, which is the card's highest rarity printing. These were only a couple of dollars before, but they've shot up instantly to around $20 lowest on TCG Player for a near mint copy. I believe the solds are generally more around like $10 to $15, it's kind of all over the place. Aside from that, the card does have a common printing that is still extremely cheap, and then it also got a super rare printing from an OTS tournament pack that was only 50 cents before, but is now up to like $2 to $3 each. Definitely an interesting one. It's not very often that we see a card get 2 reasons to be bought out at exactly the same time. Only time's gonna tell with this one, but make sure to dig this card up out of your bulk and have it ready to move in the near future. I do want to take a second to remind all of you to check out our website, MSTmerch.com. Now, over at MSTmerch.com, we have everything that you will need to optimize your Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament experience. We have the basics with white, black, pink, and our new purple matted sleeves, which are my personal favorites, as well as smooth and matted sleeves to double sleeve your valuable cards and sleeves with for tournament play. But we also have some other items that you can really use to customize your collection. We have amazing foil sleeves, including some with the MST.TV logo, and dividers and subdividers so that you can keep your collection perfectly organized and easily accessible. Regardless of if you're a competitive or casual player, I'm certain that you'll find something that you will enjoy over at MSTmerch.com. Alright, next up, we're taking a look at some really strange ones related to early reactions to Maze of the Master, starting with Statue of Anguish pattern. So the Odeon cards in the new set are actually pretty cool. I definitely wasn't expecting it. Tom and I were playing with some of the stuff, and you can actually do some really cool things and set up some interesting boards. Anguish pattern is one of the old continuous trap monsters from back in 2016. It's something that never really saw any sort of play, but it does make sense with the new Odeon cards. Basically, as a monster, this card can't be targeted by card effects while you have another trap monster on the field, and then while this card is a monster, if you special summon a monster from your spell trap zone, you also get to pop a card on the field, and this effect isn't a once per turn effect either. So yeah, theoretically, you could very easily have this and then 3 other trap monsters set. Your 5th is probably a Temple of the Kings, and then as long as you flip this up first, you have access to 3 other pops as well as what the other cards do, which is really, really cool. The only thing is, of course, this isn't an Apophis card, and it doesn't have Temple of the Kings in its text, so maybe it isn't as accessible as you would like it to be. Anyways, this card only has 2 common printings, as it was in Crossed Souls, and then it got a reprint in the tins from that year as well. Because it is such an old card, we are now seeing either version at $3 to $4 lowest on TCG Player, with pretty decent number of sales actually going through at the $2 to $3 mark as well. This is definitely something for you guys to dig through your bulk for, as I'm sure if you were playing back in the day, you would have definitely overlooked this card. Speaking of Maze of the Master, I guess we can't talk about the set without also talking about something related to 7th Tachyon, so we'll take a look at number C103 Ragnafinity. So with 7th Tachyon, everyone is going crazy for the card because of what it can search. You can search for any of the Ryziels, or you can also search for Artifact Lancia if you happen to be playing against Malice. However, in order to search for Lancia, you need to reveal a number between 101 and 107 that's a rank 5 and is also either the same type or attribute as Lancia itself. So for whatever reason, everyone did jump on number C102. Since it's a light fairy, you can definitely use it to search for Lancia. However, it seems that everyone's now just realizing that you can actually run Ragnafinity instead, since it's also a fairy. Now, it does happen to be a water instead of a light, but we were never really searching for anything other than Lancia really, unless you're running like a random level 5 light monster that isn't a fairy that you want to search. I guess you could be playing Cyber Dragon or Galaxy Soldier. So yeah, practically speaking, I can't think of a reason not to run Ragnafinity, and so a bunch of people went and bought up the card. This was particularly easy because it only has 1 printing ever as a rare from back in Primal Origin. It's never been reprinted, not even in the tins. Because of this, it went from being a 70-cent card to now being between $10 and $12 for a near mint copy on TCG Player. Absolutely insane, but I guess to be fair, it is still cheaper than number C102 since those supers are starting to hit like $15 a piece now. Yeah, this is definitely a weird one. Another card for you to dig up out of your bulk and try to offload while it is hyped up. The next super random card we have here is Trickstar Live Stage. So this is one of the Trickstar field spells, not as good as Light Stage, but definitely better than Light Arena. On activation, this card lets you add a Trickstar from your graveyard back to your hand, but it also has the ability to special summon up to 2 Trickstar tokens to your side of the field, but then locks you into Trickstar monsters for the rest of the turn. Now, in Maze of the Master, we do have several new Trickstar support cards. I don't know if they're enough to make the deck relevant in like 2025, probably not, but having just read some of the cards themselves, like there's still some pretty strong pieces of support if you just read them by themselves. In general, the Trickstar cards aren't really that expensive. There was no QCR or Starlight Rare printing back then, so most of the stuff is just regular Super, Ultra, or Secret Rare rarities, and the main cards like Candina and Light Stage have all gotten easily accessible reprints. However, Live Stage is the one piece that stands out because it came out in a core set, I believe Savage Strike, as a secret rare, but has never seen any sort of reprint. I don't think that the Trickstars even play this. They might use it as a one-of tech, but I don't think it's something that really was that popular. However, because it does have just the one printing, I guess some people want all of the Trickstar cards, so they buy up this card just in case. Because of this, Live Stage has gone from being a $2 card to now being anywhere from $6 to $8 for a single copy. Even when Trickstars were good before, this isn't something that the deck ever really needed to use, so I would probably look to avoid buying into this card's hype as much as possible and just sell yours off. Alright, a quick one to make note of here, we have Unauthorized Reactivation, so if you're like Tom and you really like the ABC cards, you'll know already about the X, Y, and Z cards from Maze of the Master, and how they do make the union-based strategy a lot stronger. However, Unauthorized Reactivation stands out as the one important card for the deck that has never gotten a reprint. Now, aside from the new cards, all of the other pieces, Union Hanger and then ABC Dragon Buster itself have all seen reprints, but if you want a copy of Reactivation, you are going to have to play the version that came out in the ABC Structure deck that debuted back in 2020, so quite a few years ago. Depending on how you got your core, you might have picked up just the ABC monsters in the fusion and not grabbed a copy of this card itself. I do think a bunch of players sort of assumed that the card might be in Maze of the Master, but that actually wasn't the case, so this one piece is actually quite difficult to find. Because of that, the card was only $1 or so up until the end of February, but once the contents of Maze of the Master were fully revealed, the card shot up to around the $5 mark, which is where it's sitting at now. Not the craziest price spike, but this is still something that you guys will want to make note of, since you can probably charge a bit of a premium for this card given how difficult it is to find. And finally, the last card I want to take a look at for today is Overdrive Teleporter. So this is something that has actually seen various waves of hype over the years. Its effect always seems like something that could be so broken if you're able to pull it off. It's just that there hasn't really been a deck that's been able to make it worth running, especially when you consider how far behind you fall if this card were to get hit by Valor or Impermanence. Now basically this card is a level 6 that can't be special summoned, so you have to tribute summon it. You pay 2,000 life points to special summon 2 level 3 psychics from your deck, and their effects aren't even negated. Now obviously, this does set up some potentially really big combo plays if it's ever able to go through. The reason the card is trending now though, is that we got a bunch of retrains of some old psychic monsters revealed to be coming in Duelist Advance, which is the next core set after Alliance Insight. The cards definitely have a lot of people hyped, even though they do just seem to be good, but not amazing or broken. Anyways, I did see a deck list that I believe Lithium was trying out with the new Psychic monsters. He didn't play Overdrive Teleporter in his list, so I'm not sure if there's like a list running around that someone's tried out, or maybe a crazy combo someone has found that has caused people to want to buy this card. But Overdrive Teleporter is something that people seem to try and hype up every couple of years, and it doesn't help that the card only has exactly one printing as a secret rare from back in Crossroads of Chaos. As a result, the card has gone from being around $14, $15 to now the cheapest lightly played copies are like $20, but the cheapest near mint is around $50 to $60 that's available. I think it's only 1 or 2 copies, though they generally haven't actually sold for more than about $20. Definitely another card for you guys to try to offload if you can while it is super hyped up, since I doubt it will see any play even if the new Psychic support ends up being better than expected. Alright guys, that is all I have for this episode. Definitely super excited to see how Maze of the Master impacts the format. I know those new Odeon cards, like at first I thought, oh my god, these are just going to be some, anime support cards. They're not going to really be that great, but they're actually really, really cool, and I'm excited to see if they'll be able to do anything this weekend at the 3v3 YCS in Las Vegas. Anyways, guys, if you did enjoy today's Market Watch episode, please make sure you let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section down below. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, guys, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.